Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of RL Kids TV, where kids like you get to learn fun science facts, play games, and do some experiments at home or in school. Today's episode is all about learning while having fun with your friends. We will be looking at some cool optical illusions that will blow your mind. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any of our fun science videos. And if you have an idea for a fun science experiment or optical illusion that we can try, leave that in the comments too. We might use one of them in a future episode. And you could even join us here in the studio. Who knows? Now, let's start our science adventure. The first thing that you need to know about optical illusions is what they are. So, put your thinking caps on. An optical illusion is something that tricks your eyes into seeing something that is unreally there, or making something look a certain way when it's really not. Some optical illusions are pictures that have hidden objects or people in them that you can only see if you look hard enough. They're called hidden picture puzzles. Can you find the bird in this picture? It's a tricky one, right? Well, here's a hint. Look again, but this time, turn the picture upside down. See how much easier it is now. This is an example of an upside-down illusion. Our brains are wired to recognize things easily from certain angles. But sometimes it can take a little longer if we don't see it from the right angle. That's why turning the picture upside down helps you spot the bird right away. Another kind of optical illusion is one where the image looks the same no matter which way you turn it. These are called impossible objects. Take a look at this one. Do you see a ring or a vase in this picture? The funny thing is that there is neither a ring nor a vase. It's just a trick of your eyes. You may also notice that if you stare at this image for a while, it might start to spin around. That's because the image stimulates the receptors in your eyes and brain that make you feel dizzy. How cool is that? Here's another one. What do you think you're looking at? Staircase, maybe. Well, it's not. It's actually a painting. It's just an optical illusion that makes it look like it's real. Let's move on to another amazing optical illusion. Did you know that each person sees colors differently? For some people, this dress is white and blue, and for others, it looks black and pink. Here's a simpler one. Is this stripe moving? If you've been watching this channel for a while, then you already know the answer. Yep, these stripes are moving, but only if you are looking at them from a screen. Scientists call this the waterfall illusion. It happens because of the way our brains process visual input. When we look at a moving image on a screen, our brains try to make sense of it by creating an illusion of motion. This is why the stripes look like they are moving up and down the page. Isn't that crazy? Now, let's try something else. Which ball do you think is bigger? The red one or the blue one? They look the same size to me. But what about if I put them next to each other? Which one do you think is bigger now? Are you confused? Well, don't worry. You're not going crazy. It's just another optical illusion called the Ponzo illusion. It happens because our brains compare the size of objects based on their surroundings. In this case, the ball on the right looks bigger because the lines in the background make it seem farther away than the ball on the left. Does anyone know why? Tell us in the comments. Right. Here's a fun one. Did you know that you can make a rainbow at home with just a little bit of water and some sugar? Let me show you how. First, you'll need a glass of water and a tablespoon of sugar. Stir the sugar into the water until it's all dissolved. Next, place a spoon on the ground, facing up. Cool the water onto the spoon, and voila! You've made a rainbow. Isn't that cool? This works because of a phenomenon called refraction. When light passes through a medium like water, it bends and separates into different colors, just like a prism. Refraction also explains why a straw looks bent when it's placed in a glass of water. The water makes the light bend, so it looks like the straw is changing direction. Now, let's move on to another awesome activity. Have you ever seen a mirage in the desert? A mirage is an optical illusion that can happen when you're traveling through a hot area and you see a pool of water in the distance. But when you get closer, you realize it's not really there. Mirages happen because of the way light bends when it passes through air that's a different temperature than the surface it's reflecting off of. When you're in the desert, the sand can get really hot during the day. This heats up the air above it, and when light passes through that air, it bends and reflects off the ground. Your brain sees the light and thinks it's coming from a pool of water. So you see a mirage. Alright, next, let's look at something really cool. Have you ever seen a rainbow? Rainbows are optical illusions that happen when light is reflected through water droplets in the air. When sunlight hits a raindrop, it bends and separates into different colors. Then it reflects off the back of the raindrop and exits, creating a rainbow. And finally, let's do something super fun. You can make your own kaleidoscope at home with just a few simple materials. You'll need 2 pieces of paper, a pencil, a ruler, some scissors, clear sticky tape, a tube or fun-shaped piece of cardboard, beads or small pieces of colorful paper. First, cut out 2 circles from the center of the paper using the ruler and pencil. Make sure the circles are the same size. Next, cut the edges of the circles into thin strips. Overlap the strips on one circle and stick them together using the sticky tape. Place the beads or small pieces of paper inside the tube or cardboard. Securely attach one sheet of paper to each end of the tube or cardboard. Now, when you look through the kaleidoscope, you should see a beautiful pattern of colors created by the beads or pieces of paper. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, that's all the optical illusions we have time for today. But if you want to learn more, there are lots of great resources available online and at libraries. Just search for optical illusions or visual perception. Now it's time to wrap up this episode of Boys and Girls Unite. I hope you had as much fun learning about optical illusions as I did. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any of our fun science videos. Also, if you have a question for us, leave it in the comments below and we'll pick some of them to answer in future episodes. And if you have an idea for a fun science experiment or optical illusion that we can try, leave that in the comments too. We might use one of them in a future episode, and you could even join us here in the studio. Who knows? Until next time, keep asking questions, keep being curious, and keep having fun with science. Bye.